3 minutes past 9 o'clock here at WBDC. I am joined in the studio with members from Memorial Hospital's Counseling Center. Please welcome Jodi, Heather, and Chrissy. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
It is September, which is Suicide Prevention Month. And along with this series of interviews we've been doing all month long, of course, we need to bring Memorial Center's Counseling Center in here. Let's talk first. I'm going to read some statistics here, and some of these are shocking if you've not heard them before. It's an update on suicide here just in the state of Indiana, and these are brought from the Indiana Department of Health. We are above the national average for suicide deaths for more than 5 years. Since 2017, nearly 1,000 Hoosiers have died by suicide every year. In Indiana, males are 4 times more likely to die by suicide than female, and on average, about 42 children ages 10 to 17 in Indiana die by suicide each year. 135 people are exposed to each suicide death, and 6 people experience a major life disruption. Hence the reason for Suicide Prevention Month and bringing awareness to this and, of course, some of the services that are offered throughout the listening area. And, of course, I would say the centerpiece of those is the Memorial Counseling Center at Memorial Hospital. And that's where Jodi, Heather, and Chrissy come into play. Let's talk about somebody out there maybe listening. Maybe they know someone or they themselves are having these thoughts. What are the warning signs for someone that may be experiencing thoughts of suicide?
I'll take that one. So, when you talk about somebody who's experiencing suicidal thoughts, oftentimes somebody's going to be very vocal about that. They're going to talk about wanting to die or wanting to kill themselves. They might speak of feeling very hopeless or very empty or not really having a purpose or a reason to live. Oftentimes people feel kind of panicked or trapped, feeling like the situation they're in has no real solution. They might talk about this unbearable emotional pain or this unbearable even physical pain, because oftentimes depression can manifest with physical symptoms. They often feel like they're a burden to other people. We might see them withdraw from things that they're used to doing or spending time with people that they once enjoyed spending time with. A huge warning sign is someone who's starting to give away their possessions and give away things that maybe are prized to them, or talk about, well, if I'm not here, I want you to have this or I want you to have that. That's a big red flag. Saying goodbye to family and friends. Maybe it's verbally, maybe it's through letter, maybe it's through text. Having their things, suddenly get their affairs in order, suddenly doing wills, suddenly making sure where the keys are, where the lockbox is, where the safety deposit box is. Here's all my stuff. Sometimes we see people become real risk takers, that they're doing things that maybe would lead to serious injury or lead to death that they normally wouldn't do. We talk about, them talking about or thinking about death often. We might also see things like extreme mood swings, suddenly changing from very sad to very calm or happy, like the whole world is right, because they're feeling very settled about their decision. When somebody talks about making a plan or looking for ways to kill themselves and searching for lethal methods, such as, stockpiling pills or getting a gun or, grabbing a rope. Again, those are very serious warning signs that somebody's kind of entered from this passive fleeting thought to this more active, I'm going to plan to do something. Again, talking about great feelings of guilt or shame. Heavy drug or alcohol use is a huge warning sign, because that limits our decision-making ability and really kind of impairs our judgment. Somebody who acts anxious or agitated, change in sleeping habits, rage. It's just all of those things. And somebody may experience some of them. Somebody may experience 1 or 2 of them. But if somebody's talking about it, talking about wanting to die or wanting to kill themselves, that is not a normal response to stress. That's an extreme sign of distress. And we really shouldn't ignore those things.
All right. I know somebody who has displayed one or some of those symptoms. What can I do to help someone that is experiencing suicidal thoughts?
I'll take that one. I think the first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to talk to them and asking them, are you having thoughts of killing yourself? Are you having thoughts of suicide? And it's okay to say those very direct words, because you don't want to beat around the bush per se. Are you having thoughts of just hurting yourself? In their mind, well, no, I'm not having thoughts of hurting myself. I'm having thoughts of killing myself. So it's okay to be very direct when you're asking that question. So talking to them and then providing that support to them, getting them to a safe place, bringing them to the emergency room to where they can speak with a trained therapist who is going to be able to get them the right help that they need, whether that be inpatient or outpatient services. It's really about linking them to the resource.
What are some specific services that Memorial Hospital Healthcare Center provides to people who may be experiencing suicidal thoughts or really any other type of mental health emergencies? It's not always suicidal thoughts, but the counseling center is there and the hospital is there and has these programs and these services for people. Let's talk a little bit about some of those services.
One of the best services we have is within the hospital, we have a crisis line that anyone can call anytime. If there's any concern that maybe somebody said something that you think is questionable, do I report? Do I not report? Always report. You never know how serious someone is, and you don't want to wait until it's too late. So always call and ask for help. The crisis line at the hospital is 812-827-6222, or you can call the national helpline at 988. Also, we have therapists in the hospital 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So if you're ever in question, anyone can come to the hospital, be seen by a therapist at that time in the emergency room, and they will help with next steps, what makes sense to help get that individual to where they need to be. And we also have the option of an inpatient admission if that's necessary, or we have Memorial Counseling Center for outpatient services if that makes better sense to the situation.
What can I do to monitor? We've talked in length on some of these past interviews this month about how that slippery slope is of depression, and everybody has bad days. Everybody feels sad every once in a while, but when this becomes the new normal, how slippery that slope is from I'm sad to I want to kill myself. What are some things that I can do to monitor my own mental health and stress levels on a daily basis? Because we all know that life throws a lot of stressors at you left and right. How can I monitor that and make sure that I'm staying mentally healthy?
I think it's just having those check-ins with yourself. It's monitoring yourself. It's asking yourself, how am I doing today? How am I feeling today? I tend to rate that on a scale of maybe 1 to 5. Talk to people about keeping a calendar and making that actual, writing that number down so you can kind of see and gauge yourself. Because when you don't write things down, you tend to forget how maybe bad things were or good things were. So it's trying to rate yourself on how am I feeling today? Well, today I'm feeling a 4. And tomorrow I may feel a 2. But the problem is when I stay at 2 for a while, that's when I then need to get more help. I may need to call someone. But you're going to have those bad days. So if I have a 2 and it goes back up to a 4, that's okay.
This may be the $1 million question, and I think anybody can take this kind of advice. What are some good ways to manage my stress level? And a lot of people have trouble with that, whether it be stress from family life or financial stress or your job, whatever it may be. What are some good ways to manage that stress?
The best way to manage your stress is to take care of your body and listen to your body. That might be physical exercise, get out, go for a walk, try to do the things that help you clear your mind, spend time with friends, get out and socialize. Sometimes it's tempting to stay home when you're having a down day, but is it always better to stay home, or is it better to go out with a friend, to go for a walk and see some sunshine and enjoy your day and try to take care of yourself and your body and your spirit?
I know a local doctor here with Memorial Hospital had a great quote to somebody I know, and he said, I can take care of some of the symptoms of your stress, but I can't take care of your stressors. And that is
Very
managing
true.
that stress. I know, I'll never forget that quote. There's some things that you can do to limit those stressors. And if you do that daily thing, okay, well, here I'm on these days, I'm not having good days. What's causing those things?
I also think it's just really important to do things that provide you some sense of enjoyment, and sometimes we have to have people dig way back to what'd you do as a kid? What'd you do as a teenager that made you feel better when you were struggling? And so is it things like meditation or even coloring? I mean, I say they make adult coloring books for a reason. It's actually very therapeutic, so whether it's art or music or crafting or, what provides you kind of that sense of relief and stress relief. Again, for some people, like Chrissy said, it's going to be exercise. I think taking care of your body is super important. If you don't journal, I think it's really important that you start to do a feelings journal, and it doesn't have to be a journal that's all about having a down day. The easiest way to start journaling is to start a gratitude journal. And what's one thing every day that you're thankful for? And maybe today it's that you got out of bed, you're alive, and you're breathing. Or maybe today it's that you were able to take a shower, or that you have food on your table, or that your kids are healthy, And so journaling truly is a way, if you're not somebody who's going to openly express your feelings to others and talk to somebody, journaling is kind of that internal, independent way that you can do that. And again, we just really encourage people to start with a journal of gratitude if you don't know where to start.
And like Heather said, it seems a very important thing is to get it on paper, write it down, because we all forget. I don't know what I did yesterday, but when you write things down, then you have something to go off of. You can look back, and again, like Jodi said, you can really, like you said, as simple as waking up that morning, or I got to take a shower. It may seem like silly things to you, but to some people, it's a big step towards getting mentally healthy. This is Suicide Prevention Month. What are there any local efforts that are working to address suicide and the impact that it has on our community? And as that statistic earlier, every time somebody chooses to commit suicide, 130 people are exposed to that death. That is a lot of people. Put 135 people in a room. That's a lot of people. You always hear no one will miss me. No one will care if I'm gone. 135 people are affected from you being gone, and 6 of those people have a major disruption in their life. That's a lot of people.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. We're very lucky in Dubois County, being a small county that's very connected. We do have probably more efforts than people realize. 2 of those specific to suicide awareness and prevention and response, are Survivors of Suicide and Locking Arms. And both of those are organizations that address, both proactive and reactive aspects of suicide awareness and prevention and response. You then have, in the community, we are lucky enough to have the Dubois County Public Health Partnership Mental Health Committee that has existed probably for the last 15 to 17 years, in which multiple agencies come together and we meet as a mental health committee to talk about suicide prevention efforts, to talk about mental health issues, to talk about resources that exist or are needed in the community. And some of those things that have come out of that mental health committee are, we now have a community response team in which multiple agencies have come together to kind of brand and logo this, Help Tomorrow Needs You. And we offer the crisis and the national helplines in our logoing. So we've tried to be present at community events, health fairs, different things like that are going on. So it doesn't feel like, what agency should I pick? It's really just about this committee saying, hey, here are all the local resources we have. And it takes every one of us, whether it's a community mental health center, the hospital, or private counseling centers, private agencies, the religious community, faith-based community coming together to really provide that support. We also have mental health first aid in the community, and that right now is being offered through Purdue Extension. And mental health first aid is a class or a program that the average person who doesn't have any training in any type of mental health or counseling or social work or nursing healthcare background just takes this course to really learn about what mental health is and how do I identify some symptoms of different mental health illnesses, and how do I get somebody to the treatment provider to engage them in treatment. I think we all have experiences in our life, whether it's in our family, our work environment, that we see somebody and we know that they're struggling, but we don't know what that is. And mental health first aid is really geared to kind of help us identify, hey, this could be depression, this could be anxiety, this could be a substance abuse disorder, and how do I really work to try to get that person to the help that they need. And then within the community, there's still also QPR training, which is just like CPR, but it's QPR for suicide awareness, which is question, persuade, and refer. And so you question the person, you persuade them to get help, and then you refer them for treatment. I think one other local efforts that we really have going on that sometimes maybe don't get the highlights of things are within our school systems. I actually had some data forwarded to me a couple weeks ago that in the state of Indiana, 1 in 4 girls from 7th through 12th grade have serious suicidal thoughts.
1 in 4.
25% of girls in Indiana from 7th grade to 12th grade.
Just think about that. I know, myself included, there's parents out there that have 4 kids.
Yes.
To show you how small of a circle that is, 1 in 4.
Yes, that was very staggering to myself, to my team at the hospital, and also to the mental health committee. And so we, are so thankful that we have local efforts related to teen issues of substance abuse and mental health and healthy coping. And one of those is through the organization called CARES, that is led by Candy Neal and Martha Rashi, and they do a really good job of trying to engage the teenage population into healthy activities, networking support, and so we're very thankful for them. We're also very thankful that our school systems all have social workers within their school corporations, and then we've seen an increase in the last few years of those efforts and of those bodies and of those engagements with outside organizations to get more support in the school systems.
I'm not going to date any of us, but we all remember middle school and high school and how hard it can be. You're trying to find out who you are. The social circles are starting to form. It is a rough time. It was rough for us. Now amplify that with social media and things of that nature. If there was a bully that was picking on you at school, and in our day, we went home and we didn't see the bully again until the next day. You can't escape your bully anymore because your bully's online. It's a different world that our kids are living in. And these things are also important. And of course, with this month being Suicide Prevention Month, not just this month, but year round, making this not a taboo subject. It's something that we openly talk about, because a lot of the reasons that these things happen is people do keep it to themselves, and they don't think that they don't think that there's help out there, or they don't know where there is help out there, or they're just too afraid to ask, or don't think anyone cares. But you do matter, and people do care. 135 people, again, are exposed to each death, 6 of them a major life disruption, and that means a major life disruption. That 1 in 4 girls, that is harrowing statistic right there. If one thing that's going to stick with me, how important these services are, how important. I love, Jodi, the fact that all these services, whether it be private business or a nonprofit, whatever it be, Memorial Hospital, coming together to serve the common purpose of suicide prevention. There's so many services out there. The most important step is getting that help. Or if you know somebody that needs that help, getting them that help. And there's such a variety of ways to do it, as we talked about. If it is an absolute, 24 hours a day, all these lines are manned. 988 Crisis and Suicide Lifeline. That is the national number there. You can text that number. You can call that number, 988 Crisis and Suicide Lifeline. And, of course, all the services with Memorial Hospital and Healthcare Center, and, of course, the counseling center there. Services are available, so please reach out and get help. Ladies, anything else that you wanted to add this morning in closing such an important topic, and since this is the last of the series, anything else that we wanted to add?
I think my only then recommendation is to trust your gut. If you have a friend, if you have a family member that you are having that thought of, is something going on, like they're not acting like themselves, trust your gut and always reach out.
It's better safe than sorry.
Better safe than sorry.
Anything else, Chrissy or Jodi? We've covered a lot this morning. Again, the Memorial Hospital Healthcare Center all the services that are provided here in the area. And again, the national number, text or call 988-CRISIS and Suicide Lifeline. That is Jodi, Heather, and Chrissy from Memorial Hospital and Healthcare Center's Counseling Center. And, of course, along with Survivors of Suicide and all the other organizations out here, this is Suicide Prevention Month. If you see something, say something. And if you yourself are feeling these ways, you are worth it. There is help out there. Please text or call 988-CRISIS and Suicide Lifeline. That's what's going on in 101 Country.
You're in